Hey, in the next few minutes of this video, you are going to learn how to handle the biggest motivated seller objections. Let me think on it. Let me talk to my spouse. Carter, that price seems a little low compared to the competition. Or, hey, I need to meet with another investor in just a little bit. I will get back to you. So, without further ado, let's jump into those. Make sure to hit the like and subscribe button, and here we go. So the almighty, hey Carter, I appreciate the offer. Let us think on it. We will get back to you just as soon as we can. Give us a week, give us 2 weeks, and we'll get back to you. What do you say to this? I know all of you struggle with this. I struggled with this as well, but let's dive into a quick role play. Hey Carter, let me think on it. We will get back to you. Mr. and Mrs. Seller, I totally understand wanting to think on it. I would do the exact same thing in your situation. But I guess let me ask you this. On a scale of 1 to 10, 1 being that there's no way in heck that you'd ever do business with us, and 10 being you'd be ready to move forward today, where might you guys fall? Carter, we're probably at like a 6 right now. Hey, I totally understand being at a 6. That's a fairly solid number. Of course, it's not a 10. But I guess, Mr. and Mrs. Seller, what would we have to do on our side to get that 6 to a 10? And what this is going to do to your prospect is it's going to make them think about the actual true objection of what's going through their mind and why they're not doing business with you. Because then they might say, well, Carter, your price is a little bit low. Or, no, we're actually meeting with some people next week and we want to hear what they offer before committing to anyone. This will lure out the real objection because they don't need to think on anything, truth be told. Be ready to solve the next objection, which I'll hit you with right after this. Next objection. Well, Carter, let me actually talk with my spouse. I want to talk it over with them prior to committing to something, and then we'll get back to you within, say, like 48, 72 hours, something like that. Does that sound fair? Mr. and Mrs. Seller, I totally understand wanting to talk things over. I would have to do the same thing with any big decision that myself and my spouse makes. But let me ask you this. What happens in the off chance that you're all excited, you're going over things with your spouse, and then they tell you, no, I don't think this is really gonna work for us. Then what happens? Well, I'm not sure. I guess we probably wouldn't do it then. Mr. and Mrs. Seller, I totally understand. Like that, I wouldn't want to get in an argument with my spouse over something this small, this minute either. I guess, do you think they would be saying no to the price, the terms, the as-is sale, the cash offer, the quick closing? Like what specifically do you think they would be saying no to? And that is going to lure out their objection because it's not their spouse. It's probably the price. It's probably not going to be your terms, the cash offer, the as-is sale. They're not going to say no to any of those things. It is always going to come down to price. And if you guys stay tuned, I'm going to dive into price here in the next couple minutes, but not right after this. Okay, now going into, let me meet with the other investor's objection. Hey Carter, so I appreciate meeting with you today. It was great going over things. Now let us just talk to a few other people. We have a few other investors coming by, and then we'll get back to you if it is a deal for us. Now, you might be thinking in this scenario, Carter, there's no way whatsoever to overcome this. I'm always facing the same thing. There's 20 different investors coming out to the house, and I don't know what to do. I cannot physically get over this objection. So what you're going to do is you're going to say this. Mr. and Mrs. Seller, I totally understand wanting to meet with the other people, get an idea on where they might be at as well. But at the end of the day, Mr. and Mrs. Seller, if us and the other companies are all at the same price, I guess who would you rather work with? And then they're gonna say, well, probably you guys. Yeah, explain this, this, and this. Then you're just gonna, hey, I totally understand, and I appreciate you saying that, Mr. and Mrs. Seller. I guess, why us though? And then you're gonna let them dive in. And then you're gonna ask the why question again, and you're going to let them dive in. And you might be thinking in your mind, Carter, that doesn't work. That's not going to work, but it does, because people do not wanna be put in an awkward situation where someone's standing right in front of them and they're saying, well, I'm gonna go with this other guy that I met with. Like I like them way better than I like you. And if you're actually personable, if you're actually doing your job, you're providing the information you say you're going to do, and you're not pressuring them, they will say you. I would rather work with you at the end of the day. And then you'll keep going over it. So after they tell you why they would rather choose you or your company over the other buyers, you're going to say this: Mr. and Mrs. Seller, now you can probably understand why we might be at a little bit lower value than you originally thought, because we provide this, and this, everything that they already told you. I guess, would it be irresponsible of you to move forward with us right now and we can get the ball rolling on this thing? And then you're going to see what they say. Because first off, they don't want to call themselves irresponsible. They've thought about this decision. They know what they're doing. They know exactly what it is that they want, and you are solving their problems if you go through this scripting properly. After that, when you ask them the irresponsible question, would it be irresponsible of you to get moving forward on this right now? They might say, Carter, you're still, the price still seems a little low. The pricing objection has come out. They've tossed it out, hook, line, and sinker, and you're panicking. You're like, well, the price is the price. I'm sorry, we can't pay anymore. And then that results in a no deal. You don't sign the contract because you are not digging down to the root problem, which we're gonna dive into right now with this word track. Mr. and Miss Seller, I totally understand when you say that the price is too low, but I guess just to clarify that a little bit, when you're saying the price is too low, is it one of the following things? Possibly number one, that this physically, if you do the deal with us at the price that we offered, it absolutely would not allow you to move into that next place that you want, that you desire, and you wouldn't have any money left over, or you just financially couldn't do it? Are you possibly saying number two, that you potentially saw somewhere, or you heard from someone that you could get a little bit more? Maybe number three, you already have an offer on the table for more than what we're willing to pay you, but you actually like us more? Or number four, you're like me, when we go and get an expensive cup of coffee that we don't make at home in the K-Cup or the brewing pot, and we pay just a little bit too much. We spend a little bit too much versus what we wanted to actually have in the first place. I guess, which one of those, Mr. and Mrs. Seller, is truly going on, just so I can understand your situation a bit better? And what you're doing there is you're pulling the root problem up front, because then they might tell you, they might say, well, Carter, we heard from another investor, my friend, family member, realtor told me that I could get a little bit more money. And then you can dive into the questioning further. Yeah, I totally understand that, but I know from the beginning you said you wanted this done quickly. You didn't want to have to worry about repairs, expenses, and everything like that. And ultimately, at the end of the day, Mr. and Mrs. Seller, what would you do once you have that $75,000 in your pocket? And then you drop that on them and see what they say, because then it's absolutely real. Once they have that cash in their pocket, what's that going to be spent on? What are they going to do with it? And there's probing questions that you can ask throughout the entire walkthrough, throughout the entire appointment, to get a better idea on this, a better sense, and to bring their guard down even more so you can close them in a very likely manner. Hopefully this was valuable. I hope you guys got a ton of value from it. I enjoyed making this video, but comment down below if you have any questions, concerns. Otherwise, I will see you in the next video.